Welcome to Whalley, and this is Whalley Viaduct. It's known locally as Whalley Arches, but this structure fascinates me. Been a big fan for a long time, and when I got my drone for Christmas, and it's now almost the end of May, so I've had to wait that long to get this opportunity to have a nice sunny day, come along one evening and get some pictures, and I've been very lucky. Got a couple of trains going across, and I got a goods train as well coming from Castle Cement, so I'll show you those bits in a bit. But I wanted to tell you all about Whalley Viaduct because it gets overlooked. You know, when you go to the airport, everyone knows the viaduct there at Stockport, which the motorway goes underneath, but this is actually the older brother of that one. Now, this viaduct was supposed to be impossible, and in the mid 1800s, when they needed to build a crossing for the Bolton, Blackburn, Clitheroe and West Yorkshire Railway, they needed to connect Lancashire to Yorkshire, and they had this major problem here with the River Calder, and they needed something to transport the trains across. So as you'll know, trains, they can't go uphill and they can't go downhill, they've got to go on the flat pretty much all the time, and so that presented a big problem here. And there was a number of chief engineers who were approached about the job, and each engineer who looked at it said it can't be done, it's too long, you can't build anything that long. But then they contacted a man called Terence Wolfe Flanagan, and he became the chief engineer, and he was absolutely determined that yes, we can do it, we are going to have a railway there. And in 1846 they started building it. Took them 4 years, finished it in 1850. And at exactly the same time, they were building in the northeast, up at Berwick-on-Tweed, they were building the Royal Border Bridge. They both pretty much finished at the same time, and both of them were absolutely groundbreaking. They changed the game as far as railways were concerned, because both of them were very, very long and they were successful, and they're both still in use today. And it really is an incredible thing. It's the biggest and longest building in Lancashire. It took 7 million bricks to build it, and that sounds like a lot, doesn't it? 7 million bricks. All the bricks were created from clay from the local area all around Whalley, and they built a big brick factory so that they could get on and do it. 7 million bricks it took, and you know, me being a geek, I've actually worked it out. If you put those 7 million bricks end to end, they would go from Whalley, from these arches, to the centre of Rome in Italy. That's what 7 million bricks looks like if you lay them end to end. So as I say, absolutely a massive, massive project this. One of the biggest structures in the world when it was built, and it's still going very, very strong today. So these fields that we can see all around the viaduct, when they were building it between 1846 and 1850, there was a big town created here, a shanty town for all the workers, all the navvies who were working on it. There were 340 men altogether involved in the construction, and of course all those men had wives and children. So a shanty town was built on these fields, and there was a school, there was a shop, there was a pub, of course there was a pub, there were navvies, and it took them 4 years. And it was the builders who were the very first person allowed to go across. They got a very special train on the opening day, and all 340 workers were allowed to travel across it on the railway in the sky, celebrating their achievement. It's absolutely unbelievable, and as you can see, it's still in use today, still serving that link between Lancashire and Yorkshire. This, of course, you'll know if you've seen the steam trains, this is a major part of the railway to go up towards the Settle and Carlisle line, which is probably the most famous railway in Britain. There's 49 arches and it's 600 metres long. There was a lot of worry in the 1960s when Dr. Beeching made his cuts to the railway. He closed down the line between Clitheroe and Blackburn. So this viaduct fell into a little bit of disrepair really. There was bushes growing on it and all sorts of things. The occasional train was coming through, goods trains were coming along this way, but there was no passenger services, and it took 30 years until that service was reinstated. A lot of local people, Ribble Valley Rail, Peter Brass in particular, they all started a campaign and worked for years and years tirelessly campaigning to get the railway line reopened. And it's definitely here to stay now. There was millions and millions of pounds spent on it in 2016 reinforcing the arches. So it is still a major part of our railway network, and it's not going to be closing down anytime soon. So 175 years old, and just to give you an idea of how old this is, it was completed 40 years before they even started the Forth Bridge in Scotland, which of course is the most famous railway bridge I think we've got in the UK, isn't it? As it was very close to being completed, there was a tragedy. There was 3 men killed, and they were at arches number 12 and 13. They were working on there, and the big wooden supports, which, how they build these arches is they build a timber frame and build the bricks on top of that, and then once the bricks have set, they pull all that away and you've got your arch. It's all fully constructed. But on these 2 arches there'd been a period of heavy rain, which is very unusual for the Ribble Valley, but there'd been a lot of rain and the bricks hadn't set. So these 3 lads who were working up there, they were pulling the wood timber supports down, and the whole thing just went down on them. So they had to rebuild arches 12 and 13, which, as you can see, are just right next to the river on the Billington side. So thanks for joining me. I've really enjoyed sending the drone up. I don't know if you've noticed, but a couple of birds have nearly knocked it out of the sky, which is a bit scary. I didn't realise that was a thing. So thanks a lot, and I'll see you on the next one.